Hello everyone. This hour on Verbling, the next in my great short story series, we're doing our final class on William Carlos Williams' Doctor Stories. We read 2 of them. So we're going to be discussing these stories today. They're very short. We could read them again if it's really necessary, but hopefully you've had a chance to read them before our class. And we're going to be talking about not only the stories, but also the way he uses images and what makes him, how he uses language to convey images, one of the things that he's really famous for. So, first a bit about me. I'm John Eric, your Verbling teacher for this hour. I'm an American teacher from New York, hanging out in Lisbon, Portugal to bring you this class. By the way, here are 3 quick rules to help you participate. Don't forget to turn off, tune in, and open up, which means turn off your microphone when you're not speaking so we can keep the classroom quiet. Tune in to the new words you're learning when we are speaking so I can correct you and give you feedback. And last, open up to your classmates. Relax and have fun. We're all here to learn, and this is the safe and respectful place to practice your English. So, with that in mind, I'm going to quickly open up my PDF and share it with you, and you can follow along by opening the notes, and we'll get started. So right now you should see on your screen the logo for use of transcription, verbal transcription, and use of force. I had a whole set of questions that I came up with last night, and they got erased. I don't know what happened to my questions. I remember them, I think. But let me just go down there to the discussion. Yeah, all my discussion questions are blank. They got erased. I don't know what happened. I must have written them in a document and then they disappeared. I don't know. I don't know what happened. But I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to... Oh, look, we got Luo joining us as well. Fantastic. So, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to quickly open the document and I'm going to write the questions as we go along because I think I remember them. So, both of you have read both of the stories, right? Oh, look at that. I just lost my screen share. Yes? No?
No.
Uh-oh. That's a problem.
But I had read this before I entered this classroom.
Oh, okay. Then there's no problem. Good.
Quick browse, just.
Okay. Can you hear me, Yuki, as well?
Yes, I hear you.
Ah, okay, good.
How are things with your computers?
They should be pretty good. I reset Firefox. That seemed to fix everything.
Oh, resetting Firefox is sounds very heavy. Sounds like very heavy work. Yeah.
No. It's easy. It's easy.
But after that, it took a long time to restore your condition. No.
Yeah, but I'm not going to restore anything. I'm going to leave. I left it with.
I know.
With pretty much nothing on it.
Yes.
So we'll see if it works. Let me just get this back on screen for you. All right. Hold on a second here. So right now, okay, there you go. Yeah, it seems to be working. It seems to be working because I'm using exactly what I used yesterday and nothing's crashing so far. So I think it's working.
It sounds good.
Yeah, so I think things are better. But anyway, I have another laptop if things get bad, so we can try that as well. All right. So look, I'm going to see if I can remember some of the questions that I had for you because I can't believe that I erased my questions. I can't believe it. Um, yeah, I can't believe it. I really spent time on this too. Let me see. The first one I was going to ask. Okay, let's do this. The first one is something that we didn't talk about before. Let me just go to somewhere, I don't know what page this is on. After verbal transcription, I had this cartoon. So let me see if I can put that on screen for you. There we go. And it says, compare this story with the oh no, we already did that, sorry. How does this cartoon illustrate one of the main themes of the story? Can you see what's happening in this cartoon? Can everyone see it on screen?
Yes, I see the screen picture.
Okay, great. So hopefully I'm seeing it backwards. Hopefully you're seeing it the right way. Oh, and actually you got to read the caption too at the bottom. Can you see the caption?
Caption. I see the picture.
Yeah.
It sounds like a family camping in the yard.
Camping? No.
No,
Not camping. Barbecuing.
Making a barbecue.
Barbecuing.
Barbecuing. In a yard.
I think they fried some aliens because barbecue like this equipment like a UFO in the sky. Probably there are two things on the barbecue table are aliens. Yeah.
It looks like a spaghetti
alien. Aliens.
Do you know the religion naming spaghetti alien? Spaghetti, do you know? Don't you know?
No.
No?
I have no idea. But share with us. What is the spaghetti alien?
In America, it is such a religion. People believing spaghetti alien maybe. It's a group of people who are against the teaching religion by the state that trying to teach anti-evolution against evolution by Darwin. Yes, in the school. So they began to believe very ridiculous thing like spaghetti alien. It's a kind of joke, but it prevailed very quickly among many people. Now they have a meeting every year, and many people gather there. Haven't you heard about it?
Nope.
No. Oh,
afraid not.
Famous. No.
Well, I've been out of America for quite a while. Maybe I missed that. So I think, Luo, I think you're right. The alien spacecrafts look very similar to the guy's grill. They look about the same. And can you read the caption there, Luo? Can you see the caption?
Yes. George has always liked foreign food, so I think the foreign food is a metaphor for alien.
Absolutely. So here's the question, guys. How does this cartoon illustrate one of the main themes of verbal transcription? You have to be creative now. What happened in verbal transcription? Verbal transcription is not about aliens.
Maybe verbal
What happened in the story? Do you remember some details?
verbal transcription reminds me of the imagination of people. The people who have a rich imagination, all they can see is something unusual. They can imagine very very unbelievable things. They talk things that usually people cannot imagine. No?
All right. Whoa, who are these people? I mean, you mean like the woman in verbal transcription? Do you mean like the woman, the wife, the one who we hear in verbal transcription? Is that who you mean? Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Can anyone hear me? Hello? Hello?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. I have no idea. What is link between this picture and the verbal what verb? Sorry, I forgot that.
Verbal transcription is the name of the story.
Transcription, yeah.
Okay, well, what was the unexpected thing? What was the unexpected thing that happened in the story? Or how was the story different than our expectations, perhaps? We expect certain things from a story. And William Carlos Williams was a modernist. He was very experimental. Yet he's seen as this very conservative writer in a way, but he wasn't really that conservative. He just liked to keep things very simple. In a way, verbal transcription is a radical experiment. What was the story? Was there even a story? It just seems like he transcribed his medical notes, and that was it. But in fact, he seems to be showing us quite a lot. So, what was unexpected about the story? That would be a good place to start. How was it different than a normal story? Because I think if you get that, then you'll make the connection.
In comparison with usual story, this story verbal transcription by Carlos Williams looks like very strange, and it's.
In what way?
It's mysterious. Firstly, readers cannot understand what narrator meant.
What the narrator means?
What narrator means, and but
the wife, right? The wife of the sick man.
But as long as the reader reads a story, they can imagine what the narrator means.
Okay, I'm totally lost. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? I think I understand, but let's be specific. So, first of all, it's not a normal story, right? It's not even a story. It's just the words that some woman is saying. So it's an unusual thing because we're getting this monologue. So that's the first part. It's not a description of events. In fact, all the events just kind of happen. They're not really described like you would expect in a normal story. So that's already different, right? It's just a monologue. Also, what about our expectations of her as a character? Does she do things that you would expect? She's caring for her husband. Is she behaving in the way you might expect? She's kind of comical, isn't she?
Yes. Firstly, firstly we can imagine that she was talking. Narrator was talking about her husband, but after that she suddenly began to talk about the animals she kept, and finally we can see that she treat her husband as one of her animals. So
Exactly.
unusual,
She's
but logical in the end.
she can't. Everything seems to have equal value in her universe. Her pets, her husband, um, and um, and is there any, what's the word? Is there any sort of misunderstanding that happens in the story? I wonder. Because I'm saying if I look at that cartoon, I think, well, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. There's two possibilities. Either the guy mistakenly cooked the aliens because the ship looked just like his grill looked just like the ship, or he didn't. He did it on purpose. Maybe. Also, look at the person in the background. Who's the person behind the fence? Who do you think that is?
His daughter.
Any idea?
His daughter. Can you hear me?
His daughter? Okay. Why is she on the other? Why is she on?
She's a neighbor.
Yeah. Why do you think it might be the neighbor? I agree. I think it's a neighbor. Why do you think it's a neighbor?
I think neighbors think what a strange thing they are doing. He don't understand what is happening with this family.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a neighbor because she's on the other side of the fence looking over.
Yes.
So I agree. And so
he looks like a usual person, very like us. She don't understand the extravagantly thing like they are doing.
exactly. And so how does that relate to our the first story, the verbal transcription? How does it relate to the characters? Who's the equivalent? Let's say, who's the equivalent of the neighbor in verbal transcription? Like, there's no daughter, but who's looking on, confused? You know what I'm saying? Who's the equivalent character?
He can equivalent with leaders who read this story. No?
Do you agree with that? Luo, do you agree with that?
Yes, I think so. Reader or narrator.
Who's the narrator?
Narrator. Narrator is someone who notes the verbal. Yes, wrote the story down.
And who is that? What's his job?
I forgot that story.
Oh, we got a problem. You've got. Hold on a second here. Let me just open.
You are talking about the story, yeah?
I'm talking about verbal transcription, yeah.
About she is narrator is a wife.
Yeah, but who's right? But who's the
who
witness?
Has many animals in her house.
Right, but who took the verbal transcription? Who did that? Who wrote it all down?
You mean this story, yeah?
Yeah, we're only talking about this one. Yeah, who wrote it down? It's verbal transcription. So who did the transcription? Not the wife. Who did it?
William.
Obviously.
Carlos Williams.
Exactly. The doctor.
The doctor,
right?
yes.
This is all. These are the notes of a doctor. So I don't know about you, but I think the cartoon is
Yes,
similar because
yes.
we are taking the point of view of the doctor. We're like the neighbor on the other side of the fence looking on at this bizarre situation.
Real
What
narrator
would
is
you
not
do?
not a wife, doctor writing this story. Yeah.
Well, yeah, he's maybe not the writer, but he's the editor. He's the one that chose to show us those particular notes. Maybe he chose some and left out others. And when you do it, and it's verbal transcription, so that means it was written down. So he had to take notes like a doctor does. In fact, like Chekhov, he used some of his patients as inspiration for stories. So in fact, they often say that um, never in the history of literature.
It's kind of a medical certificate. Yeah. Oh, we lost the teacher maybe.
Oh yeah, yes, I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah. You don't
Yeah, the
hear the.
connection is
Yes.
relatively bad today.
Today is better than yesterday, but now
Really?
yes, yesterday it was awful. Yes,
Mm.
our teacher has a big problem with his computer.
Mhm.
we
Okay, I think John is in the Portugal. Probably the
yes.
Portugal's connection is not very good. I don't know.
I don't think so. Portugal is one of European countries. I think of condition connecting to internet is quite good. But I think he has a problem with his computer now.
Hmm.
I
Okay.
can guess that his computer works very slow.
Hmm.
Because of that, there is a problem. I don't know. Maybe there is a problem with Google Hangout. Don't you have any problem with your computer, Luo?
Yeah, sometimes, but when I upgraded some of
Oh,
my hardware, the issue has
hardware?
been resolved. Yeah, hardware.
Oh,
And I upgraded some, previously in the summer, because the weather very hot. Sometimes my computer would crash.
oh.
But when after I changed my hard drive to SSD, do you know SSD?
Yes, SSD is a very, how to say, it's a hard,
Uh,
yes, yes, it's a new type of, no, new type of, quite it's usual now, but new type of
yeah,
hard disk.
mm,
Yeah, yes, yes,
hard disk. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yes,
It's more stable. My
more
system
stable
is
and
more
more,
stable. Uh,
yes,
more quickly.
yes, quick, more, quicker
Yeah.
than
Mhm.
previous type of
Yeah.
hard disk. It's amazing. You are upgrading your hardware always. But the hard disk. Do you use laptop computer? Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Desktop computer maybe.
no, no, no. I'm using all in one or all.
I see. I see.
It's like a laptop, but it's bigger
Yes,
than
yes.
laptop with
Uh,
keyboard and screen.
you
You
have
know.
display and keyboard. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes.
display with computer. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah,
the flat type of display. I see. I see.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
But
Mm.
now you
Mhm.
have how to say big amount of hard disk, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
working quickly.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
quickly, more stable because as a temperature, the old types hard drive. If you use it in the summer, I mean the hottest season, the hard disk will be very hot. So
oh
we probably will cause a crash. It writes and reads frequently. when you use it.
Does the
But with
temperature does the
Hmm?
temperature influence on your computer's working? Yeah.
Yes, that was
Oh,
what
amazing.
I mean. Yes, previously, in the hottest days, my computer had some problem
Oh,
with.
is it hot
I think
in
it's
your
with
country in summer?
uh, 30, 36,
36?
36 Celsius,
Oh, it's quite.
36 Celsius,
It sounds
or
quite
yeah,
hot.
some days, yeah.
Yeah. So you have to think about the computer is normal work in summer days. Yeah, hot summer days.
Yeah, but I also think there was another
Problem.
cause
Cool.
cause of the problem because after I bought this computer I
Mhm.
hadn't reinstalled the system for years, so
Eh,
I think the
for years,
system
what does it mean?
yeah,
You, you,
for it is many
ne-
years I haven't
many years.
hadn't I hadn't reinstalled the system, so system I think was too.
It took long time to reinstall the Windows, maybe, yeah?
Yeah, Windows
I
7.
see, I
Yeah.
see. So
Uh,
after the change of your hard disk, you took a long time to restore your condition. Yeah,
yeah.
is it right?
So all problems has been resolved
Oh,
after that.
I understand. Yes, me too. Yes, it is very quite annoying to restore, yeah, the
Yeah,
system and condition
yeah.
and all programs.
hmm
Yes.
Yes, and unfortunately, I lost almost 10 years of my digital picture,
Eh, I
which in
see.
my hard disk.
Oh, your stored
When,
information in your old hard disk was lost. Yeah?
yes.
You,
A
you
lot
stored
of
it in
memories.
10 years. Yeah?
Decades, digital photos. I restored in my hard disk. I thought I was copied them in another disk, but I hadn't done it. So I made a mistake. I
Oh,
formatted my computer, this computer, and reinstalled the system, as you know. So
oh,
all the photos were disappeared.
that's disaster. Yeah? I
Yeah.
suppose it was great shock for you.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Yeah, I
But
I
till now,
understand. I have a similar experience, so I understand. But
well,
but
it's
but
a
it
really
was
shame.
hard for you. Yes.
Yeah.
It's a big problem with owner of
Uh,
computers for all.
mm,
Yeah,
mhm.
and Windows have often problems. Yeah, I don't like
Yeah.
Microsoft computer.
Oh,
There is
are
a
you
problem.
using Mac probably.
Uh, you are using a Mac now?
No. I mean
No?
you.
I know. I continue to use Windows, but I don't like it.
Okay.
Yes.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yes. I agree with you. Yes.
Mm,
There are
okay.
many problems. Yeah, with
Mm.
Windows. Yeah.
I'm
But
almost there. Still
so I
connecting.
don't. So I want to change to another operation system, but there is no option but Windows practically
Mm.
now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Welcome back, John.
Yes,
Welcome
welcome
back.
back, John.
Can you
Are
hear
you
me
okay?
okay?
Yes, I hear you.
Yeah.
All right. I'm still trying to get the Verbling app to download. So give me
No.
just a second for that. Okay, it's done. Okay. All right. Well, I guess the point is I have to be very careful with what I open. But I'm going to share something with you which will help us talk about the second story. Give me just a second. Where is it? Actually, I'll tell you what. I'll put the link rather than share my screen. I'll put the link for you. I'm opening this page of poets.org. Okay. I don't know if I can share my screen, but let's see. I'll try it briefly because I think I fixed the problem. So anyway, that's the link. And if you go here, at the bottom of the bio, you'll see a link for poems. So I clicked on that.
So I have a question.
Sure.
Sometimes we could find a lot of the famous article and story which written by the people in the olden days, like this author, and sometimes some of them were written in the probably 1918 ages, and my question is, if their English similar to now deserve us to learn, or if we read this kind of old articles, we will learn something cannot use in the modern age.
The English is different. That's true, but that doesn't mean it's not worthwhile. You mean? Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
Well,
I hear
we read some 19th century things. We read the Yellow Wallpaper, which was written in the late 19th century. The structure of the story was a little different than a modern story.
I think Ruo means that in spite of in spite of
Oh, okay. The structure was different, but yeah, the language is also going to be different. I mean, we're not going to use.
John, I think you have your voice is slow. Yes, your voice is slow. There is a delay a little, as usual.
In spite of?
I think Ruo's voice sounds similarly without delay for me, but John's voice have a delay for me. How about you, Ruo?
Luo, do you hear a delay when I'm speaking?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yes, I can hear Yuki as well. Yes, I can hear you both. But I think you have some delay, John.
I also think so. Yes, there is a delay. Yeah. John, can you hear me?
So if I turn off my screen share, does it sound better?
Yes. Sometimes if you turn off your video share, it can help.
Yes, I hear you clearly, but with the delay.
So, yeah, I hear you perfectly.
Because the video share could, occupy the bandwidth.
No, but my bandwidth is really turned down. Well, I can double check. I'll turn it down a little more. It keeps resetting. That's the problem. My bandwidth keeps going back up.
I think now it's better.
Anyway, I just put the link in the chat window. So what I want you to do is to look at this poem, because William Carlos Williams is more famous as a poet than he is, or he's maybe not more famous, but he's generally known as a poet. I think it would be a good way to start talking about the second story by looking at one or two of his most famous poems, and they happen to be really, really short. So I won't share my screen, but what I can do, you can open that link, and I can also put this poem in the chat window. Yeah, I'll put it in the chat window as well. So what I want you to do is look at that poem, which is like one sentence long. I want you to tell me what you think about it, particularly in the way he puts together the images. Does someone want to read that for me? Can you see what I wrote in the chat window?
Okay, I'll try maybe. I'll read.
Go for it.
So much depends upon a red wheelbarrow glazed with rain water beside the wild chickens. Beside the white chickens.
Yeah, the white chickens. And the poem is the red wheelbarrow. Do you know what a wheelbarrow is?
I've just checked my dictionary. Wheelbarrow is a kind of the equipment to help you to transport some like a carriage in the shopping mall.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Something you use to move things around on a farm, usually, like dirt. You can put the dirt in a wheelbarrow. So, this was a very radical poem at the time. Radical in two ways. It's very different than poetry that was written, maybe not very different, but it was experimental. But also, he was criticized for writing about everyday things. But that was part of what I think it's part of what he did, is he took literature, he wanted to be very radical and different than the other modernists. He was friends with Ezra Pound. He was friends with T.S. Eliot, at least for a period. But he thought that they were too elitist. So he tried to write about everyday things and have the meaning be maybe more, I don't know, less hidden, less puzzling. Not puzzling, but less hidden, that more accessible. So he wrote this as an example. The red wheelbarrow. So much depends upon a red wheelbarrow, glazed with rain, water, besides the white chickens. What do you think about that? Does it remind you of a Japanese haiku?
Yes, it reminds me of a Japanese haiku. It's quite short, but it's meaningful. I think a red wheelbarrow here stands for Earth where we are living. No?
I don't know. What do you
I
mean?
don't know.
What do you mean by it? Could be. Oops.
So our life is all our life depends on our environment, our Earth. But on the Earth there happens unbelievable, quite miserable things on the Earth. No?
I don't know. Could be. It's one interpretation. What do you think about the poem, Noel?
It's too abstract for me.
Really? The poem is too abstract? But how could it be abstract? Look, you've got red wheel. Can you picture this in your mind? Red wheelbarrow, glazed with rainwater.
Glazed with rainwater, yes. And what is red chickens? There some metaphor.
It's not metaphor. It's real chickens. You know, cluck cluck. Chickens.
Chickens means girls.
No,
girls?
it means chickens.
Oh, okay. Okay, chickens.
Where is the red wheelbarrow? Where is it? Most likely.
Red barrow.
Yeah, where is it?
Red barrow in farmer. Farmer.
On a farm.
Farm. Yeah, on a farm.
On a farm.
We are in village. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if we're in a village. We're on a farm probably because there's chickens. There's no chickens in the city. And what time of year do you think it is?
I think it's quite old time. It sounds like.
What time of year do you think it is?
19.
No. What time of year? Spring, summer, fall?
I think it fall.
Okay, could be. What makes you
maybe summer?
think it's fall? For me,
it's summer.
For me, I always get the feeling that it's spring rather than fall. That's just me. Why do you think it's fall?
You are right. You are right. I also think so. It rainy season in
like April, like April when it starts to rain. And if this was a painting, who do you think would have painted the painting? What style do you think it would be in? Just curious.
Impressionism.
Impressionism.
Yes.
I kind of agree with you
it
about that.
It reminds me the picture of Gauguin.
Why is that? Why do you think so?
Because Goho maybe Van Gogh, because it is quite vivid image.
Van Gogh is Impressionism artist.
Yes. You are right.
Kind of. He's kind of unique, but yeah.
There are many impressionists. I think among them I remind the Van Gogh the picture, because image is quite vivid and
there are many
colors. Yes, and red and yellow and is the main colors.
Yellow? What's yellow?
White. There is no yellow in this poem, but it is quite vivid. White in this poem there are white, red, and maybe I don't know what color. I don't know.
Well, if water is blue.
Blue.
If it's blue, then maybe he's creating an American poem because the colors of the flag are red, white, and blue.
It looks like a flag, American flag.
Maybe, I don't know, but you're right. It reminds me. If you say Impressionism, I could agree with that. You know, it kind of reminds me of. Yeah, it could be that because of the colors. It could also be. I could also see it as like a pop art because the colors are so bright in the poem that it could remind me even like of I don't know, maybe some. It doesn't have the theme of pop art, but it has like the colors you might expect. But yeah, I could see that as well. Well, that's one. Let me see if I can give you one more. But this next one is a little closer to the story that we're reading. Let me see if I can find it.
What this poem exactly mean, or just this author trying to convey us a unique feeling?
It depends on your imagination. Yeah. It's a kind of a haiku.
When I look at it, I think the first line is very abstract. So much depends, and the rest of it is very concrete. So he must be trying to say something to us between that contrast of the first line and the rest of the poem. Why is it important that we neglect the red wheelbarrow? Why is that important? I don't know why it's important, but it must be important. Beyond that, it's such a concrete image. It's such a still image, because the sound of the rain is very soft. You can imagine it. But the colors are very bright. And then you think, how could you ever neglect the red wheelbarrow? How could you not see it? And yet we do. So I don't know what it's about.
Only it sounds quite crazy for me. In spite of the picture drawn in this poem, it is quite clear, and as you said, it is bright, but it sounds something crazy. So I think after I want to say that our life is a kind of crazy thing. We have to live in our life in this vivid colored world, but it's crazy world, no?
What's crazy about
motif it? Looks like the Van Gogh's pictured one.
But what's the crazy part?
Crazy part is chickens and red barrel, and rainwater is quite cold, sounds cold, and we have to walk under the rain falls. But it's summer, it's spring, so it's quite warm. But rain's cold. I don't know. So something crazy thing is going. But it is usual, but it's cold. I don't know.
I don't see anything crazy about anything you've said yet.
No?
Nothing crazy yet. Oh, look, my Verbling T-shirt is falling apart already. Look at this. Unbelievable. I just got it, too. I'll tuck that away. Well, I've got another one, and this one is another short one, but it has a lot more to do with the poem, with the story, the second story. So, Luo, Yuki read the first poem. Could you read the second poem in the chat window for us? And read the title, too. The title is important.
Okay, this is Just to Say.
That's the title.
William Carlos Williams. Okay. I have eaten the plums that were in the icebox, and which you were probably saving for breakfast. Forgive me, they were delicious, so sweet and so cold. How about my intonation?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Okay.
It's great.
These poems were written the year before he died. So I don't know if that's significant, because this says he died in 1963, and I think both of these poems are from 1962, if I remember right. So I don't know if that's significant. What do you think? This one seems a lot deeper than the other. It's not so much of an image, is it? I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but my feeling is I do get an image. I get the plums. And I get the coldness.
There appears the common keyword. It's a cold, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, icebox and cold, yeah.
Among two poems. Yes, here I feel the vivid and bright colors.
In this one too? I don't get bright colors.
I feel the temperature in this poem. Temperature is quite clear.
Can you taste the plums? You know what plums are?
Yes, I have tasted plums. It's quite sweet, but at the same time it's sour. So
yeah, not really sour. The word would be tart. Tart. T-A-R-T.
Yes.
Tart.
Tart.
Like acidy, a little bit acidy. So sweet, but it has like a sharp, picky. Sometimes they can be very tart as well, or a mixture. Well.
It is freezed. Plum is freeze. Plums are freezed.
Frozen?
Frozen, sorry. Plums are frozen. So it stimulates your mouth.
What do you think? What do you think about the middle line?
Delicious. Eh?
What do you think about the middle line, which you were probably saving for breakfast?
Maybe you are fond of fruit, yeah. You are fond of plums, so right. you remain them to enjoy it after the breakfast.
Right. Well, with that in mind, I have the first question. I found my questions. I have the first question about use of force. Keeping this poem in mind, I doubt this poem is really about plums. Do you agree with me on that? It's about something else.
Yes.
I don't know what it's about, but I feel that.
Yes.
Go ahead, Luo.
It reminds me. It gives me a feeling that the poet is missing somebody, probably his wife, and he has had a mixed feeling of the missing and the sand. The cold can refer to sand. The cold of the taste of the plums, and the sweet, delicious sweet is some warm feeling of his relatives or somebody he missed. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. It's definitely some mixed feelings for sure. Also, cold is so important. Cold. It seems so important. You know, when you think about love, we usually think of warm, not cold. So being cold to someone usually has something to do with cruelty, being cruel. I wonder if this poem is about cruelty. What do you think?
It could be. It could be.
Well, my first question about use of force is this. I'll write it in the chat window as well. My question was, is use of force, the second story we read, is this a description of a medical exam or something else? Keeping the poem in mind, I think there's something similar here. What is the story really about? Not what's it about. We know what it's about, but is it really a description of a medical exam, or is there something else going on, like in the poem, This Is Just to Say?
You are talking about the poems, or
I'm talking about both, the poem
both?
and use of force. The second story, use of force. Because I think that the poem, This Is Just to Say, has something very similar about it, something similar in the theme, more than theme, the theme and the form, to the second story called Use of Force, the one about the little girl. It's just my opinion, but I can tell you what I think, but I'm just curious.
They don't remind me of medical examination, but there are plenty of imagination of authors written in these poems. We can feel the same sense as the writer wrote these poems. We can taste real. We can taste. As if when I read the second poem, I can feel the same feeling like the taste plums, and it sounds a little moment, a short moment of happiness in our life. And it's quite short, but it exists.
Happiness at the expense of what, though? That's my question. If you're talking about the second poem, the Plum poem, This Is Just to Say, happiness at the expense of what? Because I do get the feeling of happiness, but regret at the same time. He's saying sorry. The note, I imagine this is a note written on the refrigerator, so that when his wife wakes up and she goes to eat her plums, and they're gone, he explains why they're gone, but he doesn't have the courage to say it to her face. So he writes her a note. So I have a feeling that he feels some regret.
Maybe you are right. It is a happiness moment, but at the same time you can feel some kind of feeling of regret. It reminds me the Japanese haiku, because there I feel the feeling of how to say very short time of happy. How to say
fleeting happiness. Fleeting, short, yes. Fleeting.
Mutable, fleeting. Transient.
Fleeting. Yeah, fleeting means short, transient, fleeting.
Yes, transient happiness.
But the word is fleeting. Trust me, fleeting.
It's our life. Fleeting. Yes, fleeting. It's the main concept of Buddhism, and our life is very mutable, very fleeting. There is no stable things in our life. We have to, but we have to live our lives, and we have to find a happiness moment in our awful life, such a kind of things. So, so these poems remind me of haiku very much.
And
haiku writer captures the moment, very vivid moment of our life. They can suggest a short time of, they can picture the picture moment of our life in their haiku. So William's poems have a same feeling. Like
yeah, I agree with you. And I think he was very influenced by the form of the haiku, because all the modernists were interested. So his other modernists like Ezra Pound as well tried to experiment and make an American or English version. Not just that, but try to be influenced by other forms of literature. But what about the use of force? Oh, actually, we're out of time. Now I'm looking at the time. We're going to have to stop. Well, look, I've got some questions for you, so I will post them in the document, and I'd like to hear your answers. So you could write them if you like, because we should try to, I'm using these poems as a way to give you access to the deeper meaning of the second story, in particular, the second one. The first one's kind of funny, but the second one, I think, goes beyond the surface a bit. So I have to stop the class right now, but I'm going to post the questions for you at the bottom of the document, and I'll send it to you as well in the Verbing message system. Think about the questions, and I'll try to add one or two suggestions about how the poem is related to the second story. So think about it and send me your answers, or we'll talk about it in the next class as well. And we're going to start a new story, but we can, in the beginning, talk a little bit about it on Thursday as well. Okay? So, anyway, haiku. It was good to hear from someone who knows about haikus, because in America we talk about them, but we're not Japanese. We don't really know very much about them. So we've got an expert. That's always good. All right, I'll send you the questions, and I'll be back in just a minute for the business class, getting results in business, being innovative. That's what we're working on. The next section, being innovative. Bye for now, everyone. See you in a few minutes. Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.